Hey everybody, welcome to the video. Welcome back to the channel. This is the plunge pond build. Now we were hoping to be right back on it in this video, but we actually got a significant amount of rain last night. No complaints, it's been very dry and it's much needed, but it is going to prevent us from working on getting the rest of this dirt hauled out. But it's not going to stop us from working out here and getting something done. If you guys remember the timber bridge project, we're actually going to do some more work on the timber bridge today. Get this railing finished out. Hopefully it'll dry out enough we can get a coat of stain on it this evening. And then because we've got awesome ground moisture and high humidity today, we're gonna see if we can't get at least one of our burn piles burnt and cleaned up. And then that'll be knocked off the list. A little cardboard, some kindling. We'll get this thing kicked off fairly decent. We're gonna be toasting these limbs out, but limbs grow back over time, so not too worried about it. I got a little bit of fire going here. Went and grabbed a bundle with the 304 right quick. Might as well. Some days it's just too wet for the kindling, you know. Some days it just won't go like that. That's a little better. All right, you guys keep an eye on that for me. I'm gonna go grab another small pile up the hill. So that one pile came off of where we've been clearing down here for the plunge pond. But I had to leave a few stragglers behind. I couldn't get it all in one group. So let's get one last bundle. All right. As much as I'd love to take that 304 and just keep traveling up and down the road and grabbing everything off the sides and getting it burnt up today, I don't want to waste fuel and waste my rentable hours on doing something I can do with my other equipment. We got some of the stuff on here and we'll be able to get this cleaned up and burnt up today. We're just going to keep the 304 handy so we can keep tossing her together and getting her burnt down to nothing. Let's see if we can go find some posts. This guy's enjoying a nice fire this morning, just enjoying the weather. Very nice. The bridge is right there, by the way, so we're within monitoring distance. Well, that's good. We got some stuff around it. Oh, check out my fancy new, look at these. The latch style on these Rangers, they're notorious for failing, and I've taken that off and cleaned it off several times, but I got tired of it, so I just put some gate latches on for my tailgate latch, huh? Isn't that fancy? 16 bucks, no proprietary payments there for a latch that doesn't work well anyway. I got my worst enemy here, this post pounder. That's always fun. It's float season at the pond, so we just, life jackets stay on the side by side. Okay. You know, if it were my machine, I'd just beat the heck out of these posts with the 304, but it's not, so I hate to abuse it like that. We're just gonna abuse my body instead. I got the 372. We've got some black locust we're gonna make posts out of. This black locust lasts for a long time. It'll probably outlast that bridge, to be honest with you. We do need to debark it before we make a post. I normally put a concrete chisel on the SDS to get this bark off. It works really well. I don't have that. I couldn't find it. I've got this left over from another project. It's a wood chisel that I welded on to the shank of that because safety at some point, you know what I mean? It might dig in too much, but we'll give her a gander. It's not bad. Be better if the battery wasn't dead. Daggone it. Guess we're going to get a battery. Not sure I only brought one anyway. I'll leave this here. Oh, look, there's another battery back. Here, I'll throw it around a little bit. Hey, huh? Look, our luck's turning around already. Is barkless. Definitely a lot less effort than a draw knife, that's for sure. We're gonna put a pretty hefty point on her. And then we just do the most fun thing. It's just, I always have a hard time lifting this thing up over posts, so I try to slide it on the post and then stand it up. I don't know if this will fit inside. I may have to trim it. Oh, I have to give her the old trim. I personally love sawdust in my shoes. That's why I wear the shorts, you know. Gets in there and absorbs the moisture for me. Keeps my feet dry. Okay. And once you're satisfied you're at a good depth to the first one, you make up an excuse like, I think the fire needs thrown together. And you go, it's not because we're tired, right guys? We just got to throw the fire together. We'll get to the next one just real soon here. This one's got to go off the side a little bit so it's a little longer. You'll also notice we're kind of pinching the end of these down just a little bit. This was for our side-by-side and our compact tractor, and it worked really well for the couple years that we needed it to get across the other side of the property. But now that we've got the stone bridge down there, this is turning into a four-wheeler and footpath only because it's wood, it deteriorates over time. I don't want to put a whole bunch of weight on it anymore. So we're kind of pinching it down to force that option. You guys remember the YouTube Yacht project, the boat shaped and themed rental cabin we're building out of YouTube revenue, and we're currently working on saving up the revenue for the windows, because that's the next step, and it's a pretty pricey one. So that's why we're working on projects like this with material we already have to keep the content going and to keep the revenue flowing. You might also remember these treated 2x4s. You see, I ordered construction 2x4s at one point in this project, and they sent these instead. And what we agreed upon was, I tell you what, to make up for the delay in my project by delivering the wrong material and not being able to get the right stuff to me a couple days later, how about I just hang on to these treated 2x4s and we'll call it square? And they said, sounds like a plan. This is what we call free material. Oh gosh. No, no. No, just hold on. Oh, okay. And aim towards the bridge. That'll work. Fella can't beat it. That fire needs another throw together. Now we'll just go ahead and back up right quick. I said level, I don't really need the level, I just need a straight edge. So it's somewhat similar, that's all we're looking for. We'll run these on here and then we'll just take the saw and cut it off where it needs to be. I got a ton of screws left over from when we formed up the YouTube yacht, so that's what we're running these in with. And we're just going right into the tree. Not only does it give me a break from pounding posts, gives a fella a little motivation, huh? I mean, now you can do the old rail lane. Wow, trees. Sticking with the thing and pinching this thing down, we're gonna take these posts, which are just, if I remember correctly, just barely screwed in. We're gonna move them to the inside, between here and here. Truth be told, I don't really remember how I attached these. I don't think I did much. Yeah, I just gave this one a little heave-ho and she's barely hanging on, so. Kind of just had them tacked on there from the last time. There is a little risk about making your cuts on top of a wooden bridge, you know. Fella gets a little saw happy and the whole project becomes kind of a waste. And that just goes right there, like that, just magically goes right there. I need some more 2x4s, some bolts, some drivers. Fire's ready for another hit. Whoops. That's fine. No worries there. Let's get some stuff bolted up. Let's show you how we're doing this. We got a whole bag of goodies here. We're going to take some all thread, run it through there, and then we've got some of these big spax screws right here. We're going to run down into that. Oh yeah. Well, always thinks it's a dead battery whenever it runs hard like that, but I don't think people understand that this is a hardwood, that's a hardwood. This isn't the little firs and pines that you're normally running them into when you're building a home. I got one down here at the bottom of this post helping hold this thing in place. I need to get that. Oh gosh. Easy, easy, okay, easy. When did mud become slippery? And I think, yeah, we can probably just, there we go. It bounces long enough to stay there and doesn't plummet into the pit of doom over there. Well, I guess I got to pound 2 more posts. This thing is burning down great. You just keep moving stuff to the center and letting it burn down. I got that one log in the middle that just refuses to burn all the way through. I'm gonna try to cut it real quick. Seems like a good way to burn my ankles. Oh, so hot. So what we're looking for is a black locust tree, about 4 inches, 5 inches in diameter. Well, you got plenty of them. Just a matter of finding one that's close to the trail. Make life a little easier for us. That's just embarrassing. Leaving the saw behind. What was the plan? Now let's take the tape measure too. That's not a bad one right there. Other than the fact it's probably gonna get snagged in that maple. Now if I move the side by side, I think we'll just go right there. I think it'll squeeze off that top okay. It's the only bad thing about cutting the smaller trees, they never have enough weight to carry through anything. Have enough, come on. Come on. Oh, it's so close. That'll work. I got my 2 posts. I know I put 2 posts in here. Well, 1 for now. Some people try to get rid of those black locusts on their property. They don't like them because the new branches have thorns on them. But I like it. I think it's like a resource. They're just growing posts all around the property. Less posts I gotta buy. Okay. The only thing that's going to be a little goofy looking is there's a gain of elevation, so that bottom rail is going to look a little different as far as the space between the bottom rail and the ground. I'll do it for the sake of science. There's worse things you could do in the sake of science. Send a craft to the space station that can't make it back. I'm hung up on this. matching the ramp there. I want to bevel these posts too a little bit. That'll help keep any water from sitting on top of that. I reckon a guy needs to go. The starter solenoid is starting to go out, and I just replaced that thing. There we go. Guess I'll have to get a little higher quality on this next round. All right. Let's go find the stump, or no, post. Okay, one post. Got it. Well, that is looking awesome over there, but we've got a birthday party this afternoon. So we are going to spend the last few minutes I've got and get this thing organized and cleaned up so it can be left. Let's see if we can sneak around this side over here. Pretty much just a pile of coals at this point. Make sure nothing rolled out while I was doing that. Everything looks pretty good. I'll come down and check on it periodically throughout the night, but I feel pretty comfortable about this scenario. Following morning, burned down perfect. I'm going to take the Mini. We'll just roll everything into one last pile. It'll smolder in whatever it smolders into. It'll sit and smolder like that for a day or two, maybe 3, who knows. The good thing is it's all right here and this is perfect. We got some other burn piles we got to burn in the future and a lot more to clean up to keep our fuel load down. But this time of year I got to really be picky when I burn and how spread out I put my burn piles. If I got one going over there and then they do decide to get away from me a little bit and they're that far apart and I got to try to track the machine back and forth to keep up with them, that's a recipe for a disaster. But we did get this one burnt this time of year. Huh? This part never gets old. Okay. And I just eyeballed this, you know. I was just saying, well, we'll just hold that there. We'll bring that up here. A little hip pressure. Bring it up more. Right there. Scribe it with the screw. And you end up with this masterpiece. Huh? Look at that. Very nice. So this next step, it's probably my least favorite. It's pretty time consuming, but it's kind of necessary to get everything how we need to get it. I'm just taking a wire wheel on my grinder and going along and just giving everything a quick scuff, getting any dirt or anything, or debris that's been on the bridge sitting for the past year. This thing's already got a couple coats of stain on it already and it's been holding up pretty good, but I got to get it cleaned up so we can get another coat of stain on it. We'll have to do this top and the bottom side of the support logs, same thing. And then once this is all done, once I get this cleaned up, we'll use the leaf blower a couple more times, get all the debris off. She'll have to sit for the rest of the day, so any moisture that's trapped in there or is under those leaves and that debris can pull up out of that wood. That way the moisture is out whenever we go to put the oil on the thing. That'll also give the post we made a day or two to get some moisture out. It's getting there. It's looking really good. Those 3 batteries are already empty. Those are older batteries. They don't hold their charge like they used to. Maybe that's what I'll use my first round of Patreon money for. Some new batteries for the Impact. We got some Australian timber oil left over. We just stained our deck up at the house. Oh, we didn't. The Admiral pressure washed and stained the deck up at the house, the front and the back deck. We've got some left over. Didn't use quite as much as we thought. We're just gonna roll what we got. And then we're gonna talk about too, a couple things to address with this. The big thing being the future. So when we built this, what's it been, guys? Like 2 years maybe since we built this? I'll have to go back and look the actual date on the video. I can't remember off the top of my head. But, oh, maybe we should start on that side of the bridge. We're gonna do the deck and area first before we do the, and a little bit of the leaves underneath. Whoops. And if we have enough left over, then we'll do the railing. So when we built this, we're trying to get something that lasted 5 years. Just something to get us from point A to point B with the tractor and everything, and it worked really well. I think all in all, we spent 500 bucks on this thing, and that was mainly hardware, all the bolts. And even still, with these improvements, everything we put on here is just left over from other projects. The screws, the railing, the trees for the post, right? Whenever we first built it, people had suggestions of other ways to build bridges, and they were awesome suggestions. Things like old lowboy trailers, stuff like that. And I think they're all pretty cool and pretty good ideas, but at that point in time, we were just trying to get a way across without spending a crazy amount of money on anything. And it was a tremendous amount of work. But it gave me the opportunity to kind of play around, do some problem solving, which I just love to do, and was pretty cool. Something I always want to do, build a bridge out of wood. But long term, we're going to have to replace this thing. Like I said, 5 years. We'll be creeping up on that in no time. And I can tell you the support beam on that side is showing some pretty aggressive signs of rot. I don't even know if that side will make 5 years. But we're going to have to come up with a game plan on what to replace this with. Now with the stone bridge down below, we don't have to build it for any kind of weight. So we can build something kind of cool, something fun, a little bit of a different design. And we've got some time to come up with that design. We got a couple years yet, right? It's kind of crazy to think that all the work we put into this, we're already talking about getting rid of it and doing it again. But I mean, it's to the plan. It's to what we thought we were going to do with it. I am curious your suggestions though. What would be a cool and unique footbridge? That's what it'll be. It'll be a footbridge. What would be a cool, unique footbridge? Something we could do that would last longer than a timber bridge. The permanent footbridge solution, if you will. The good news is a lot of the work we put into this thing was the footers underneath. We'll still be able to reuse that. That won't be a problem. There's just a little bit left in the can, but not enough to do the whole railing. I'm not too concerned about it though. This railing will outlast that beam underneath there. We'll get a couple years out of it, and if we stain the deck and have some extra left over, well, we'll touch it up again. Not too big of a deal. I'm curious to see what your suggestions will be to replace this thing. Remember, that won't be for another couple years, but I like to keep my options open, so if I see something cool pop up on Marketplace, we might just go ahead and snag it. That looks like a lot of work. I get that comment a lot. It is a lot of work, but you're gonna be working for somebody, you know? Might as well work for myself, building a bridge in the middle of the woods. It's a beautiful office. Next video, also a whole lot of work, right back on the plunge pond. It's right just down there. I can see the mini excavator from here. And you can see it if you tune in for the next video. Thanks for watching. I mean it.